All right, so we've made ads work in over 90 verticals, and I get this all the time on sales calls, okay? Well, will it work for me? Will it work for my niche, right? And this video, I'm gonna be breaking down exactly what type of niches ads can work for, who we have worked with and how it has worked, and then also just some clear definitions on if this is you, it will not work for you. Okay, so first and foremost, if you ever said that ads don't work in my niche, then keep watching because this one's for you. Okay, so very easy one here, just to start off, okay, very simply. If you know someone in your niche, okay, a competitor, an incumbent that is running ads, then ads work for you. So very, very easily. And it doesn't mean that if you don't find any, that doesn't mean that it's not working. But let me be very clear. If your competitors are running ads, it can work, okay? Now, how to find that and how to discover that, let me show you. So I'll pull up my screen here, something very important. You go to Google and you type in, let me just share my screen. You type in Meta Ad Library. Okay, so you can find all the Meta ads. Keep in mind, I'm making also another video soon about platform. Meta works. If ads work for you, Meta works. I can pretty much assure you that. B2B, B2C, no matter how niche, Meta works. You just need to have the right copy, the right psychology, et cetera, et cetera. So now, let's just say, for example, I'm an HVAC company, and I'm like, I don't know if HVAC will work for me. Okay, well, check it out. Type in your competitor. See it. Okay, in this case, you can see not only their active ads, but you can see their old ads, and you can see what they were working on. Okay, well, these are people, maybe this is like a training company or whatever, but you can type in, like, insert any of your competitors, go to GPT and find all your competitors, and you can look at them. Okay, so I know my competitor is Conversionly, and as of right now, they're not running any ads. I wonder how maybe they're running it, and they could also be running it also on a separate page too. So keep in mind that, like, sometimes people like to hide their ads, so they run it on a separate page. What I'd best recommend is if you go to Facebook and you find the page, okay, that is where they're posting a lot, and that's the main business page. You can go and use that page name. Okay, another place, Google Ad Transparency. You can look at everybody's Google ads. Okay, what do you know? You can look them up here, right? So, and then you can also look at LinkedIn Ad Library, okay, here, and you click into this and you can search the advertiser, the keyword. Reddit has an ad library, Twitter has an ad library, or X, excuse me. They all have ad libraries. And let me be very clear. If you can find one incumbent that is running ads, they are either stupid and losing money, which I doubt, or it's working, okay? So any ad that's been running for longer than a month, it's working. Let me be clear, it's working, okay? Now, still, let me satisfy you a little bit, because even if they aren't running ads or you can't find any or they're all deactivated, doesn't mean that it doesn't work, okay? Now, like I said, we've made ads work in 90 different industries. And first and foremost, number one, the folks that it works for the best is that they have built-in margin to spend and to scale. Okay, so I'm not talking about like your 30-day return. I'm talking about your CAC to LTV. Now, if you don't know what that number is, it's very critical. CAC to LTV is what takes what you spend to acquire a customer versus how much you make on that customer forever over its lifetime. Starbucks has a $12,000 LTV. So when somebody buys one coffee, on average, the customer is worth $12,000. Okay, that's a coffee company, and they're selling things for $4 a piece. Advertising worked for them. Okay, let me be clear. So if you don't have a good CAC to LTV, people say 3 to 1. I prefer 5+ to 1. So take your blended CAC and put it up against your LTV to CAC, excuse me. So it'd be 5 to 1. Okay. At least. 3 to 1 works, but at least. We have worked with companies that have a $99 per month product, but they keep people for forever. So we can advertise for them. Their LTV is incredible. We can advertise for them. We have worked with people that have a one-time $100,000 offer. We have worked with people that have everywhere in between. But your unit economics need to lend itself to having margin built in so that you can invest into advertising and continue to invest in advertising. Alex Hormozi has this thing called customer finance acquisition. So if you can make at least $2 on your one that you spend, or double that. So if you have, if you make $10 from a client, and you have to spend $5 to get it, you spend $5, you get $10. You can spend 10 now and get 2, and you get 20, et cetera, et cetera. So it's customer finance acquisition. That's what we're looking for. But your CAC to LTV matters. Don't think so much of what you're going to make in a month. Think what you're going to make over the lifetime, and then use that as your barometer for your CAC. Okay. And we have, across all these 90 industries, on average, we have brought people's CAC down 34% with our unique paid ads process. If you're interested, you can download a free report below and you can read all about it. And if you want, we can help you do it. You can book a call on that report. Anyways, number 2 is your customer avatar, okay, and the market. Now, let me explain 4 things here. You need these 4 things in your market. Number 1, it's a growing market, because if it's not growing, then you by default will decline. You have to sell more just to stay even. So by default, in a growing market, you will grow. Number 1, growing market. Number 2, they must be easy to find. And what I mean by that is, if they're Amish, can't help you. Leave a video. I'm sorry, right? But if they have a phone and they're on the internet, which everybody is, we can sell to them. They are on Google, they're on Meta. I'm sorry, but they are. There's 4 billion active users on Meta. You can find them. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them in these places. They're easy to target, which means that they're not Amish. That's good. So that's number 2. Number 3, they have a clear pain or problem. Okay. So we don't want to be solving something that's not a painkiller solution. Okay. Or painkiller problem. Okay. We don't want to be solving any of that stuff. We want to solve something that really lends itself to having that kind of crick in the neck problem. Okay. Very, very clearly, like you have, and I'm sorry for my allergies, by the way, I have terrible allergies. But you have health, wealth, and relationships. It's like the 3 big areas, but you can have ancillary sub niches that contribute. So we love coaches and consultants, but we also love like enterprise SaaS that helps like increase productivity with this specific segment for chief of staffs, and it helps them save money ancillary. Okay. But these chief of staffs, they need to have a problem. You solve that problem. And so number 3, critical, they have to have a painful problem. And then number 4, they need to have the money to be able to solve the problem. Okay. So perfect example, if you're selling something to people that are looking for a job, do they really have the money? And they don't have a job. Do they have the money? Another thing is too, there needs to be a growing market, because we'll never work with like a magazine company or like a newspaper company. It's just like the back's against the wall there, right? So totally got to understand that. Number 3, you need to have a validated offer, meaning you have to have sold it before. Folks come to us and they're like, I have this great idea. And I'm like, okay, well, see you in a year. Because I would never put money onto something that has not been sold before, that does not have people that have bought it before, doesn't have customers. Like, you need to have at least some. Ads are like gasoline, right? You can pour fuel on fire. But if you got, a wet, not active fireplace and you're trying to pour gasoline on, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. So it needs to be validated. And I would assume that you can have a validated offer when you have people that are interested in coming, like at least to some degree, some people have been interested in coming and they have the budget, authority, need, and timing to come and hear your offer. And then they have bought in it. You might be terrible at sales, but you want to get better through selling this validated offer, because we also can't help you if you suck at sales. I'm sorry. Like if you have a terribly low close rate, because that means your offer market fit is not so good. Okay. We have worked with folks that have like a 10% close rate, but it's like an $80K offer, right? So you do have to go through kind of that buying cycle. Okay. So just understand that a validated offer, it needs to have been sold before. It needs to have been product market fit to some degree for us to feel comfortable to run paid ads to it. And for anybody else, in order for you to run paid ads to it, you need to have sold it before. So this is outside of us. This is for anybody who's looking to run ads and see if it's even worth it for my niche. Okay. That's number 3. Number 4, conversion mechanism that matches the buyer. Okay. So there are certain things that lend itself to others. For example, financial services, they've always sold through like a seminar. Okay, so we might do like a webinar. Okay, it needs to lend itself to this mechanism. Now, specifically what we do is we'll do a webinar. We have webinar campaigns that we run for clients, but most importantly, we have a free report, a VSL, a book a call, and a thank you video. That's our mechanism. Okay, so we're not going to sell shoes on the internet. That is a whole different thing. If folks come to me and if you are selling e-com stuff, I can point you in the right direction of people that can help you. We can't. Okay, so we like to do lead-based, appointment-based. That's the conversion mechanism that matches our buyer, and everything that I make on this YouTube and everything we do for our work, everything we do for all of our clients and all that stuff is the matching the buyer with an appointment. That can be in person, that can be online, that can be via the phone. Okay, so honestly, it's really difficult to sell things on a page where you click a button and you put in your card info and you do it. Very hard. So very hard for me, easier for some folks, much easier for us to be doing the lead-based, VSL-based, free report-based campaign. Okay, so that is the conversion mechanism that matches the buyer. That's the buyer that we like to work with here. Okay, so if that is not you, then I don't know why you're watching this channel, to be honest with you. Like, if you're not booking meetings, and why are you here type thing. But all my other YouTubes, all my other content is all about booking leads. And that's the conversion mechanism that we have. We also do webinars for financial services and this kind of seminar-based type stuff. I know info also lends itself that way as well. And then also, this is something that we create for our clients, but we do need to have a decent creative strategy. Like, we create it, but we want to have something to build upon. We want to have something kind of a bit unique and a bit different in terms of, if you're selling life insurance, I want to know your story behind why you got there. Did your mother die? And then you became a life insurance salesperson and you built your own life insurance thing because, like, your mother didn't leave anything. You know what I mean? If there has to be a unique either story or mechanism or product or what have you. It just has to be different than the marketplace, because when you're buying ads, what's happening is you are bidding in an auction. And so in order to beat the incumbents, right, you need to have something unique, whether it be your story, your product, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so this is what I'll tell you, okay? The whole idea of this is that you shouldn't think, will this work for my niche? What you should think is, how can this work for my niche, okay? Especially if you have competitors that are already running it. You should think, how can this work for my niche? Honestly, it's a terrible question. Will it work for my niche? It's likely that we have made it work for your niche, okay? But the how question is much better than the will it question, because how is something you can actually do. And this is especially for folks who are struggling with cold email, cold outreach, going to events, doing all these things. You need to think how, because nothing will ever change in your business if you don't think, how will this work for me? Okay. Paid ads may be the hardest thing to get cracked in terms of scale, but once it is cracked, it's incredibly effective and highly leveraged. Okay. Understand too that your niche, unless you're selling to Amish, they are online. You can serve an ad to them. They can be found. Okay. So let me be clear. They can be found. Just like many of you probably watching this video, we found you on Meta. We found you on YouTube, right? We found you somewhere. And so when we do our research, we look at the pockets of the internet where your people are, because they're somewhere. They're reading trade journals. They're reading blogs. They're reading newsletters. They're watching YouTubes, whatever. And your niche is going to be dependent on what that type of archetype is going to look like, and also depending on what buying cycle they're in. Okay. So they're everywhere. Everybody's using the internet, right? So let me be clear. Your niche is online unless you're selling to the Amish. Okay. Now, saturation. This is a big one. People are like, well, it's too saturated. Well, that's a good thing, because if the incumbents are running ads, that means it can work. So it's actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. It means that if your competitors are spending, that means there's proof of the market, not a problem. Okay. And so it's upon you of, it's not too saturated. It's, how can I stand out in the noise? We do that for our clients, but that's a real question you need to ask yourself. Instead of casting blame to some sort of external source, which is really what this question is will this work for my niche? How can this work for my niche is a very important question to ask. And that's what I like to, what's confided to me in these conversations is I have to challenge people and say that, because it's blaming circumstance. It's not taking accountability for yourself. It's blaming circumstance. Okay. Especially when folks say, hey, we've tried this before and it didn't work. Well, then why is it working for your competitors? Is it maybe something about what you had done that wasn't effective? Did you maybe run an ad to say, hey, book a call now and we'll sell you something? Because if you do that, nobody will come in. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to do that. Okay. Especially for the folks that have tried it. Because I'm telling you, if you are a business owner and you run a SaaS company, you run HVAC, whatever, you didn't learn marketing. You didn't learn real marketing. You didn't spend millions of dollars in ad spend like myself and my team did. You didn't read the books that we read for the most part. Okay, so you need an expert, and this is same if you're HVAC, same if you're SaaS. It's not that this didn't work or this whole thing doesn't work. It's that this didn't work because of that. So when an marketing expert would look at an ad campaign, we don't say, oh, ads don't work. We say this campaign didn't work because of this, this, and this. Same way that if you're an HVAC and you have a particular problem, you say, oh, toilets, it's not that toilets don't work. Or no, excuse me, plumber, okay? It's not that toilets don't work. It's that this particular toilet doesn't work. For HVAC, it's like, oh, AC, it's not that AC doesn't work. It's that this particular AC didn't work. In SaaS, it's like, oh, well, it's not that coding doesn't work, it's that this particular code doesn't work. See what I'm saying? So I hope you're following me here in this, okay? And then, of course, if your product is really unique, you should be running ads because that's going to capture the most attention. So if it's too unique, if you think it's too unique, if you think it's like too whimsical or whatever, that's a perfect opportunity for you to run ads because it's going to get a lot of traction. It's going to get a lot of throughput and it's going to get a lot of attention, okay? And we love that stuff, okay? But anyways, we've worked with tattoo removal, mobile dog grooming, fertility stuff, okay, fertility coaching, female-only career coaching, online legal stuff, okay, consulting, local bounce rentals, AI tools for like healthcare, dental, all these other things. We've done a whole lot, okay, and matchmaking, okay, and so the belief that I'm trying to change in your mind, if you have tried it before especially, or if you have not tried it before and you're thinking about it and you're just struggling with the cold outreach approach and you know that something's going to change in your business, my final question to you is, are you going to continue to say, well, will this work for me? Or will you finally change the circumstantial approach that you have and blame yourself and say, how can this work for me? So I want to leave you with quick little rant video I want to make. Hope that helps. Please let me know in the comments if you have anything else you'd like me to go over. I do appreciate you. Leave a like if you like it. Subscribe if you like it. I love y'all. I'll see you next time. Cheers.